Something keeps connecting and reconnecting, and I can't scroll up and down fast enough. Anyway, yeah, Don's quite right. Dark City crew, this is what we do, and people are ringing. Somebody's, hold on, while we get you back this call. So again, I'll keep adding you. If you keep putting the requests in, I will do that. Bob Earthwise, I see here. Yo! Right, okay, Bob, getting you. Give us a minute. Click. Oh. Right, so yeah, it's the Dark City. I won't bother putting any tunes on. We can just ramble on if you want. Because at some point I brought up there, I'll throw that back in straight away. Why I came across and why I asked the question about free settler status, this is part of my early investigations into Gladio. And the Gladio, you can look it up, Operation Gladio. I can put a link in the chat, which I will do. The article I'm looking at. And this article, I'll put it in the Skype chat first. Who is that? Who's on and off like them? It's Susan, Australia, falling in and out on the network. So what was I saying? Gladio, or Operation Gladio. This is not really what I'm into. I'm looking at the effects that this operation has on people as a whole. But I keep coming across this free settler. I'm not going to say too much on it. Like I say, I'll put it to you lot out there to have a look at it and give me feedback. Because sometimes you can get, and there it is in the chat, you can get led down rabbit holes. I'm quite aware of that, without any doubt. So, yeah, people have a look at that for me, that article. Because there's a part about halfway down. Just 1 second, I've got Prizer and Calais. Just give me a second, I'll grab you in a minute. Partway down, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th paragraph down. Just have a look at that. Right at the bottom of that paragraph, the last sentence, an entire division of German SS troops, 8,000 men, were smuggled to England and given free settlers status. Now, I don't really get what it means. You know, I'm not like Dawn and Vane and stuff. Don't really get it. But it keeps making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time I look at that one sentence. It is quite a shocking thing when you look at this. I've heard a lot of them say about things. The evidence there is phenomenal. This isn't some conspiracy theory, oh dearie me, look, right, this is all backed up by hard evidence, really hard evidence. It doesn't seem to make any difference. So I looked at, like I say, the effects this has over people. So anyway, that's my little two pence on that, what was being said there. Many people don't even recognise it, they don't even know it's there. But it has been existing, without any doubt. The stay behind troops, that the most secret army, now that's been revealed over here. They were training soldiers through the Cub Scouts and the what they call the Cubs and the Guy Scouts and the Cubs, isn't it, for boys? Don't know if the girls were involved at that age. And there's a guy there with the video. He was trained at the ages of 12 to kill with a double-bladed stiletto knife, and also instructed if he was caught, he'd be on his own, and that was it, you know. So yeah, these things were actually going on here. Lists of assassinations to carry out if the so-called Germans came. They came. They actually came anyway. And they invaded. But if you look at the evidence there, it happened anyway. And for me, my heart sinks a little bit for all them people who fought in the bloody war. You know? You can see that now. So, I don't know whether it's Dom or it's Bob, I can hear, but if you want to take it, guys, please do so. Please do so. No? Dom? Bob? Mm-hmm.
Good evening, all.
Hello.
Good evening, Sol. Right, I'm going to go.
Should be out of conversations dead then.
Right, there you go, Vinny. There you go. Yeah, well, it is a bit of a killer. It is a bit of a killer. We actually, Susan, who's been on and off if you excuse the terminology. We did this. This was our last show we actually did on Revolution Radio. We did about Gladio. Just freaks people out. That's the best way I can describe it when people are aware of this. The effects of it, of creaming off the best of society, literally, all over the world. The youngest, healthiest, the fittest, the most divergent thinkers. I mean, it was explained really like a lot of these people, from the perspective of the masses, are a bit thick. You know, the dummies, they're a bit silly, you know, they can't quite make the mark. And often they end up in the armed forces and stuff like that. They're thinking, you know, that they're serving the country and the family, and they're doing the right thing, you know. In a lot of cases, it's the only way they can get a job, you know, decent wage, elevates them up into society. But really, they're the cream. They're the cream consistently removed away. I mean, that little, like I say, the article, if you follow it all the way through, it is quite difficult to get your head around it all. Like I say, it's just an article, but this takes you into, like I say, it takes you from 1980, I think it's 1983, and a man being found, no, 1984, if my memory serves me correct, to a man being found hung by the neck on Blackfriars Bridge, leading into the so-called Masonic Square of the banking area, with a brick, hung by the neck with a brick in his breast coat pocket, deemed by the press all over the UK to be a Masonic ritual killing. Well, I'll tell you something about living around that time, 1984, because I was, you know. I didn't even know what a Mason was. I don't think, you know, we knew what the Masons were, you know, the jolly chaps, and they all meet together and you do things for community, like, you know. But there was no sinister and that story. So really, whether that banker was, they said it was suicide. The family ordered another inquest. I think it came back from death from misadventure, or an open verdict. Again, if my memory serves me correct. Either way, he opened up. He opened up a story of intrigue and assassins and mafioso bank job deals that leads right the way to 1947 and the rat lines straight through the Vatican, moving out Nazi war criminals. And I mean, it does read like the who's who list of you know, every bit of German history you've heard about, not all German history, excuse me, but the orchestrated war that went on in that time. And you look at all those so-called criminals, because I can't judge what happened then. It's not up to me, you know. Atrocities taking place. It is a who's who. It really is a who's who. So have a look over that and see what you think. But I don't get pulled into the rabbit hole of the information. This has already happened. The effects of these actions have already took place, and that's where I tend to upset a lot of people. Because I'm quite aware of the Gladio effect, how individuals will defend the position that they're in quite readily, especially when when they're actually confronted with an alternative. You know, just you know, it's not necessarily wrong. It's different to what they're doing. So. And then to an extent where they will begin to assault the alternative, the more viable the alternative is, the greater the assault seems to be. You know, and you can see that, you can mirror that throughout all alternative cultures on Earth. You see, I don't think the Gladio effect started in 1949. With my own little bit of research that I did here, and it is minimal, regarding the land that we seized here back as common. Why did my microphone just mute? The only common land that is in the area. As far as I know, in Britain, it's been took back. I found a family linked to these, known as the Grey family, and they were having such actions of seizing land and intellectual theft and basically like piracy on land, right back into the years 849, where the Greys were seizing land, as I say. So yeah, I suspect that this stuff's been going on for a hell of a long time, right the way back to the Roman Caesars, I think. Vin mentioned, or could have been Danny earlier, and their tokens. So the alternatives, yeah. So please, anybody want to jump in here, or else I'm just going to end up rambling myself all night on it. And I'm sure the listeners want to hear you lot.
Well, I'm sorry, mate. I've got to jump out in a minute. I've got another radio show I've got to jump on quickly. Thanks for having us on, and it's been good talking to you all again, and I'll catch up with you all again in a week, and I'll have my show on Sunday. And I just wanted to mention to anyone listening, I'm going to be streaming the No State Project back through Awake Radio again, hopefully this Sunday. So if you do get to miss out on listening it to on Darkcity Radio, you can catch up on Awake Radio as well. So,
thanks for letting us know, Vin. Cheers, mate.
That's all right. Hopefully we're going to make it work this week, and if anything goes wrong, I'll let you know in terms of if it ends up having to happen the following week. But yeah, we're just trying to put that all into play this week. So I'll say I've got to go. So I've got another radio show to go on in a minute. So I'll catch you all later then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. See you all later. Take care.
Right then. Go on, Saul. Please, are you there?
Yeah. I was going to ask a question in terms of the common law. Is it actually written down anywhere? Does anyone know?
I haven't actually seen that. I haven't actually seen common law written anywhere, not that I know of.
Common law is a precedent set by the court. So, if you punch somebody, the precedent is you shouldn't do it. If you steal somebody's stuff, the precedent is you shouldn't do it. So it's a court case where jury and judges decided that it's wrong. So it doesn't need to be written like acts and statutes. It applies to everyone as opposed to applying to the person.
Or at least it should, shouldn't it, Bob? It should, shouldn't it? I mean, law should be common to all without exception.
Absolutely, that's exactly what it is. It's, everyone knows that they mustn't steal from somebody else, don't they?
Oh yeah,
everyone knows that you don't harm somebody else or take their life. Everyone knows that.
Try just reversing it. You want to be stolen from? You want to be murdered?
A lot of interference from you there, Wonder.
Sorry about that. I said just reverse it. You want
I can't hear you. It's really bad, man. It's like
is my mic acting up?
Yeah, very, very bad indeed. Right, we've got a caller coming in on the telephone line, so I'll just have this call in. Hello, welcome to Dark City. And the number ending in 120, is it? Hello, welcome to Dark City Radio. You're live on air.
Hi, I was just going to answer that question as the common law. Our Constitution and common law, it is written down above the Old Bailey, the door of the Old Bailey. It says, let me remember to get this right: to protect the children of the poor and punish the wrongdoer. Wow,
that's new to me, man. Absolutely brilliant.
Right now, I'm a mate of Dom's. I was with him down at Occupy and stuff like that. Yeah, and I've been through the three-man thing. I've been in the court and all of that, and I've done a lot of sort of research into the Constitution and where it is and how I can get hold of it and stuff like that. And all as I can ever find out, all it ever comes back to is it's an idea. And that idea, our law is based on the idea of we punish the wrongdoer and we protect the children of the poor.
Excuse me, I had a muted microphone. Well, I couldn't dispute that, man. I couldn't dispute that. Like I say, you're saying it's written at the Old Bailey.
Yeah, it's above the door of the Old Bailey. When we were down Occupied, yeah, it wasn't. I didn't go with. Hang on, let me turn this down because I'll get an echo. I went down there. I'm not sure if it was with Dom. I don't think it was. But I went down there with somebody, and we looked at it. We were walking around and looking at it because that's where we were. I used to live in Fleet Street in the 80s. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, it's written above the Old Bailey.
You see, there's a bit in tort about tort law that kind of really resonates with me. And the rule that you are to love your neighbour. And this is based upon the general public sentiment of moral wrongdoing.
Yeah.
For which the offender must pay. So we've got another.
Yeah. You protect the children of the poor. Now, you know, you want to get into solicitors and black laws and all that. All that's crap, mate. It really is. It's all that they're doing. Let them get on with it. Yeah, they'll punish you and use it on you and all that, but it's theirs. Let them get on with it.
Yeah,
you know, that's where I come from. Keep away from it. Keep out of it. It's theirs. Let them get on with it. You know what I mean? But the children of the poor are the children of the earth. We're all poor. None of us are rich. If we own everything, then everything's ours. You know, we're all poor.
I agree.
And we punish the wrongdoer. Like you said, if somebody thumps you, you've got, you know, or somebody takes something for you, you've got to have, they'll call it redress, you know, we'll call it get your own back or whatever. We've got to have some form of that, of redress and that.
Yeah. And the ruling of that ruling, you are to love your neighbour, becomes in law. You must not injure your neighbour, and the lawyer questioned, who is my neighbour? And received a restricted reply. You must take reasonable care to avoid acts or omissions which you can reasonably foresee would likely to injure your neighbour. So anybody you might injure. Just stay on the line, man, if you would. I mean...
I don't mind staying on the line.
We've just got another caller who's coming on the phone, ending in 99. Welcome to Dark City Radio. You're live.
Hiya, yeah. Well, I just wanted to sort of throw into the mix that obviously myself and what I call some colleagues in my sort of local area, we obviously have a lot of dealings with our local council. And on a number of occasions, quite a few of us have met with the sort of the legal team and the legal management of that local council. And on one occasion, 2 or 3 of us had turned up at the town hall and met with the head of legal services. I mean, this was over basically our demand to go in and have a look at the missing artworks, which are obviously supposed to be owned by the public, but disappear quite regularly. And we suspect that they're either this obviously head of legal service had said that he could have us removed. One of our guys sort of leaned into him and said, really, under the law, you can't actually make any of us do anything unless we agree to it. Isn't that right? And he sort of backed away a little bit and looked really shocked and said, yes. I mean, that floored all of us, because we, up to that point, had had no sort of confirmation or anything like that. I mean, obviously, I've been into this sort of the whole common law thing for a long time. And hearing this from somebody who's obviously, you know, very highly legally trained, was just a surprise to say the least. And it came as a big surprise on the day, and ever since then we've obviously tried to ask a number of people to confirm it for us, and nobody will. Nobody wants to talk to anybody about that particular subject.
Well, Bob Earthwise wants to say something on it. Bob, do you want to have a...
It was about something way back, so I won't disturb the flow, because that's quite interesting when somebody answers a question quite like that, and it's often a disappointment that it is not recorded as well. So well done for hearing it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what quite a few of us are attempting to doing is, and I'd suggest it for anybody who has dealings with sort of, you know, people in the legal profession, quite a few of us carry voice recorders around with us. So whenever there's, obviously an interesting conversation like that, we do flip it on, but obviously we do sort of do the right thing and say, we are recording this, you are aware of that. Quite often you find that people will clam up and not talk to you any further, or they'll say this meeting's finished or whatever. But it's always worth carrying a voice recorder around with you, just in case you catch that one gem. And it's certainly something I've started to do, and I'd certainly recommend anybody that's doing research or looking into this and has dealings with people in the legal profession should certainly do.
Well, a lot of phones these days have voice recorder apps on them, so it's not quite as hard as it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found really useful, especially with mine, is that, it's obviously not on my phone, but it's a dedicated recorder, but you can literally just flip it on in your pocket and hit the go button, and it'll record. You can plug a microphone into it as well. Now, obviously, the microphone can be on display, so it's not as if you're being sort of totally covert and underhanded. And, you're doing the right thing by saying, yeah, I am recording this, and I do hope you're aware of that.
Yeah, I was in the bank the other day and spoke to the manager and asked him what I would get if I redeemed the promise of a £10 note at the bank, and I was quite surprised that he said you'd get nothing. I wish I'd recorded that.
Yeah, I actually managed to, quite some time ago, record somebody admitting that parking fines, obviously under the decriminalised system, were in fact contracts. And obviously that caused quite a stir among the community, because not, and it's a contract instead. And this was obviously the head of legal service of the local council that had admitted this. And it's a recording I've still got and shared out quite a lot. And apparently this got this particular character at the local council into a lot of trouble with his colleagues. What he meant by trouble, I don't know, and he never clarified, but it would certainly be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I'd say anybody, the same as what you said, but if anybody's going to get into this and is going to go around and talk to people, always have something to record on in your pocket. I talk to solicitors, I talk to a lot of people, I don't record any of it, I just know, I know what the answers are going to be, and the answers are no different to what anybody else has given to any other question online, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, if you are going to, sometimes I kick myself, because I think you've got a phone in your pocket. You've got a phone, you know what I mean, and you just switch it on. And sometimes I forget, and sometimes I just think, well, actually, no, I don't need to. But this bank manager, I was there for about an hour and a half, and he turned around and said to me, well, I used to be a solicitor. He said, and I know what you're talking about is crap. You know what I mean? So I just was like, well, here we go then. And it took him an hour and a half of him actually saying to me, look, I can't deal with any of this. You'll need to put this in writing. You know what I mean? And I wish I'd got some of the things he said and was talking about on tape. I really do, but I didn't. And
it's unfortunate, but you can just imagine the number of conversations that take place throughout the year that would be excellent if they were recorded and obviously made available for public consumption.
Well, one I wish I'd got recorded. Now I don't know if Dom will remember this, but down at Occupy they had some issues with money. I used to go down there every other weekend type thing, and I was down there and they had some issues with money. And I just got a pen and paper and just wrote down, we who've signed underneath here want the bank statements put up somewhere where we can read them, or something like that, and went round and just got a load of people to sign it, and then just went straight into one of their meetings where they, will shake hands and all that, and just put it down on the table, and just said to them, get on with it. Just do it. We've all asked you to do it, and walked out and left it alone. I don't know if that was ever on video. You know what I mean? But that is one of the things I do wish that had been recorded, because that blew the Occupier movement apart on just that one thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that...
when we took our local community centre back from the council and opened it up for the community again, we were very, very, very transparent about all the donations, whether it be money, food, or materials. And we They were all written in a book which was out in the open for everyone to see. And then in the same book at the other end was an account of everything that came in and what it got spent on. So anyone could go and look and see exactly what was there, what wasn't there, what it had gone on, and how much was still available. And it didn't matter whether you were, visiting or whether you were part of staying, keeping it open. Everyone could see it, and that's the only way to do these sort of things, isn't it? Really, have a little secret group that.
I don't know about the secret bit. I don't like the secret bit.
No, me neither.
No, that's
what I mean.
That's what Bob's saying. Bob's actually saying you don't want a little secret group. It should be transparent.
Yeah, it all should. What we should be demanding. Forget all these politicians. Forget. All we've got to say to them is, look, get rid of your secret societies, your Bilderbergers, your Freemasons, your stuff like that. You swear allegiance to the company, to the people, to the country, to the people. That's your oath. Get on and do it. Yeah, all your other oaths too. Whatever, baby burning, drinking, whatever. Forget all of that. You work for us. You do your job. You know what I mean? And then we need to they want to surveil us. Well, fair enough. Put cameras in every cabinet meeting. And the only cabinet meetings we don't need to know about will be defence. And defence is defined as defence of this country, not wars in other countries that have got nothing to do with us to prop up Charles's bloody poppies.
Yeah, well, the neighbourman tort thing, you see, I think that comes out something in the War Act. I mentioned it earlier today, actually. The War Act, that we're not supposed to attack anybody who doesn't attack us here in Britain. That's what I mean by
but that's what I'm saying. You can say all this to them. You can produce these bits of paper they've written and say, oh, here's your War Act. You're not allowed to do any of this. It's like somebody was saying earlier on, they write these things down and we don't want them to do it, but they go ahead and do it anyway. If you ask 99% of the population, do you want more than 99% of the population will say no. But look at the army. The army are included in that, and they're the ones that have got the guns. They're the ones that are doing the shooting. But it's not that simple. If you know what I mean.
I look at it from the other way. I mean, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong in their opinion here, man. That's not what it's about. It's about giving people a platform to have the opinions, But for me, it's like the reverse of it. I mean, let them work for themselves. Let them have the secret societies, Just stop working for them. That's how I look at it. I mean, people say like, well, you've got to pay for it. Well, we are paying. Yeah. We are paying for it, aren't we? We've already paid for it, haven't we? We've put us energy into it. You're putting your energy and time into what you're doing right now. And as far as I'm concerned, if we're going to have any value, it should be on energy and time. And energy and time is equal amongst us all. That's how we value things.
And that's the only thing.
As we get better at it, you see. So if it costs us one block of energy to produce a potato, and through our advancements we can produce 2 potatoes for the same amount of energy, well then potatoes would be half the price. If you see what I mean. It shouldn't get dearer. It should get cheaper. And for some reason, everything's got dearer. That's got nothing to do with us not being better now at producing potatoes than we were 50 years ago. The issue is the currency's been deflated.
Yeah, well, the issue is they've had their secret meetings and their secret bivouacs, whatever, doing whatever it is they're doing. And they're the ones that have steered, controlled, manipulated, be it the Rothschilds or whoever it was back in the 1700s, got some Napoleon's War back and then brought all of London or whatever happened. It's all been a secret cabal, and from the outset, all for centuries, and it's that's got to change. And it is through people like yourself getting this out. People like Dom, people get out of debt. The people that are handling the bailiffs at the moment, Simon the White Rabbit. It is all these people pulling everybody else in. I was talking to a little old lady in the street the other day. I was moving my bin in, and she was walking past me, on the path, and we get that second who's going to let who through. And I let her through, and, you know, she sort of nodded at me, and I said, well, at least it's not snowing. And she said, wasn't that strange yesterday? It started raining and then started snowing, but it was really warm. You know, it's you know, talking to her just for them couple of seconds, you know, yes, it is very, very strange. Have you noticed the lines in the sky? Yes, I have. But I know she's going to be talking to her neighbours and that about it. You know, people do know what's going on. People do know that there's something out there. And I think people know that these governments are just corrupt, and they're in it for themselves, and they've just got to go.
I think everybody's worked it out. I don't come across it. It doesn't matter who you ask, from what creed or culture, religion, background, social position. What do you think about the government? Robbing bastards, murdering tyrannous. Everybody.
Every single one. I used to do events, outdoor events, you know, for a couple of days at a time at some point last year. And you know, you have the hospitality, not hospitality, but you have the pizza bars and the curry bars and the fish and chip bars. You know what I mean? And I was talking to an Asian lad. I don't know who he was, and he's just sat up next to me, type thing. And I was talking to him, and I just said to him, I said, "Oh, have you ever seen that film, The Power of Nightmares?" And he was like, "No." I said, "Go and have a watch of that, will ya?" And, you know, he was obviously in his caravan for the weekend, so he's obviously looked at it. He's come back over a couple of hours later, and he's just standing there looking at me. I said, "See, there's no such thing as a Muslim terrorist, is there?" Like that, and he was just like, "I can't believe it." You know, but I never paid for anything. You know, and I didn't go to him every day. You know, whenever I fancied a cup of tea and I went over, "All right, mate, oh, yeah, no. You know, and it is just getting out. People do respond to kindship, friendship, and the sharing of knowledge.
Well, to come back to an idea that obviously was discussed earlier, with the sort of the idea that there's been loads and loads of distractions pulling people in different directions, and obviously it's simply to distract you. A thought that keeps going through my head, and I've got no solid evidence for it, but I keep coming back to this idea. Could it be that all of these little distractions are very deliberately set up because of the fact that we're now in an age where it's so easy to share information? So the governments are obviously well aware of this and have been for a long time, so they deliberately engineer either false wars or economic problems and strife and all the rest of the sort of the plagues of society.
To the economic problem, what I said to my bank manager the other day was, right, if I redeem my promise on the £10 note down at the Bank of England, what do I get back? And he said nothing. So I then looked at him and said, how can we owe 4.8 trillion or 15 trillion or 2 trillion or even £3 if it's fake? Yeah, you know, you don't need hard evidence to know that the financial system is fake.
Yeah, take me to the economy. You're quite right. Yeah, guys, you two might not be aware because you're coming in on phone lines, but I just want to throw it into the other 10, 11 people that are in the call. Does anybody else want to chip in here? Well, they're all very quiet.
You guys are doing fine.
Hey,
yeah, I think what it is when you get two people, I've listened to a lot of your shows, and I think when you get two people or you get somebody that's saying sense, it's not, you can't be factual on the radio. I can't sit here and pull up bits of paper and, you know, oh, if you look, you know, I don't know, some of these websites, you know, if you go online and type in this, you can pull off all these documents and do them for yourself. You know, you can't do that on radio. Getting back to what I originally called about, the common law is what you think it is. It's what you feel it is. And people can feel the common law coming out through the radio, through this conversation, and there's nothing else to add to it, I don't think.
Right on. It's a feeling. You're saying to me it's that the law you know to be common is a feeling, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, I can go for that, man.
I explain it because I do a lot. I do a lot of talking. I've got a lot of friends that really don't understand sort of what's going on. And I was talking to one a few weeks ago, and they said to me, "They don't understand." And I said, "Would you go up into town and thump somebody for no reason?" No. I said, "Why?" Well, I just wouldn't do it. I said, "Why wouldn't you?" Because I wouldn't do it. I said, "Is it because you'd get arrested?" "Oh, yeah." I said, "But you didn't say that." I said, "You said you wouldn't do it because you wouldn't do it." "Well, no." I said, "If you was in town and somebody thumped you for no reason, Would you pump them back? Well, yeah. I said, so it's not the violence. I said, the violence isn't wrong. The actual punch isn't wrong. I said, the fact is to start the trouble, to throw that punch is wrong. You feel that inside, in your heart. Yeah, there's your difference. You know, and she said, well, I don't get it. I said, well, does a driving licence stop you driving? No, it doesn't. You can drive a car without a driving licence. You understand what I mean? If you don't have one, you're thrown in prison for it. You know what I mean?
I comprehend what you're saying, man, completely. I really do.
Yeah, no, and with all this brainwashing, you know, sorry?
If you're talking about a government-issued document, i.e. driving licence, it does licence you to drive. What it doesn't do is prevent you travelling, which isn't...
Yeah, I didn't want to get into sort of the Freeman thing on this, because we differ a lot from what the Freeman say about a driving licence. I think if you're in a vehicle that can kill somebody, you should be at least taught and learn how to drive it.
It's how it's termed in legislation. It's nothing to do with Freeman or anything else. It's when you take the legislation apart, it is very specific about the task that you're licensed to do and in what manner you're licensed to do it, and everything else isn't included.
If punishing people with law worked, if it really worked, we wouldn't have any criminals and robbers and murderers if it worked. I mean, the people that, the good people, let's say they're called the law-abiding people, you know, they're the ones who aren't law-abiding, they just break them rules. They just break them. It doesn't make any difference. They're not fearful of the law. They're not fearful of being having retribution put upon them, you know, or being locked up or murdered, or they're not fearful of that. We've got an army and a giant police force to protect them.
Well, that's exactly what we do need a police force for, is because there are always going to be, what's the word, the people that don't have empathy, and they need looking after, for sure. But at the end of the day, everything else, like a driving licence, for instance, is legislation, and it's not about whether it's harmful or whether it's theft, or it's just a way of being able to raise revenue. The whole business. You know, you think of everything that happens with travelling from A to V in a motor vehicle that's licensed and regulated, and look at the revenue opportunities.
I agree 100%. Driving a car, from the second you fill it out with petrol, you're adding to the government's coffers for it, and you know your license does tie you into it, and all the legislation involved in it. But I don't really, like I said, I don't really follow the Freeman thing on all this legislation. I believe these rules are there. Yeah, they're written for us. We consent to them. So they're for us to use, but they're for us to use against them. The trouble comes, they won't let us do that. You know, they won't let us use the courts with juries to beat them.
Well, the only way that you consent to it is when you hand over your name, address, and date of birth. That's the consent. Until that point, you haven't. You might agree with it.
But again, that comes down under sort of the Freeman argument. You know, you consent with the police when you know they pull you over. They ask you your name. You say, well, you know, can you prove I have to have such a thing or whatever? Or my name is Adrian, or whatever you say your name is, whatever you say it is. You know,
that's where it goes wrong, though, isn't it? Because that then makes it confrontational.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So with the police, if you get stopped with the police and say
called, and then you give whatever you want to be called, you know, that's non-confrontational.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, and that's where the the police sort of slip up, if you like. But what I'm saying is, where I come from, and this is me, and like I said, I differ from the free man perspective on this. I think if you're going to be driving a car which can travel at 100 miles an hour and weighs a certain weight, and if it hits anything else will harm them, you need to be licensed to say that you can at least handle that properly. You can call it a license. When I was a forklift driver, we called it a permit for the same reason. I had to be trained on how to use the bloody machine so I could use it safely. That's what I'm saying. I agree with the license.
Do you know?
I agree that
people used to drive before they invented licenses, and people used to do all sorts of things before they invented licenses, and now they've become another form of taxation. Do you know when I got my license?
You used to apply for it at a post office.
Well, just one at once. Let Prisner finish, please, Carl. Go on, Prisner.
You know, when I got my license, it was for the rest of my life, basically. And now you have to get photo licenses and start paying them a whole lot of money and all this stuff, and it's all another form of taxation, and it's another way to catch you up. And even spending time filling in their fucking forms is a form of taxation. And the thing to do is just stop doing any of it. Stop all of it, because you only encourage them. Every time you get involved with their system, you only make their systems stronger and more accepted and more oppressive on everyone. Stop it.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from. I do agree with you. Other than, you know, it's not practical at the moment for everybody in the country to just stop not obeying rules, but to just be able to leave the system or come away from the system in any way, shape, or form. Well, there's no way I can, you know, travel without insurance because I need my car. So if I travel without insurance, they're going to smash it up. So it's not an option.
I have insurance. The only reason I have insurance is
because I'm bullied into it. If I don't have it, I have my car taken off me, or I get a kicking by the old bill and thrown in prison by the courts. That's why I have insurance. It is a pure con. It is mafiosa protection money. I pay my tax. Exactly. It's mafiosa protection money. If I didn't, I'd get thrown in prison. That's the only reason I pay it.
That's what it is.
You know, and that's all it is. When you know that, then that's it. It's also fake currency. The only currency in the world is cash. Cash comes from our sweat. We get paid.
That's not the only currency, man. You mistake. That's not the only currency. Darkcity Radio's been paid for by bitcoins. Bitcoins hit £40 today on the market. That's £40 sterling or English pounds, whatever you want to call them, fiat currency. And so it's not the only currency. There are other forms of exchange. Many of us here use energy and time. We're collectively putting our energy and time into something.
The only currency.
Yeah. I'm a builder by trade, and I'll trade with somebody. If I walk into, I've done work for somebody for potatoes out of their back garden.
Yeah, well, that's how it should be. Go on, Prisner.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. That's and if I could get through life doing that, then I would do that.
Yeah, well, we just make it work.
It's just not practical at this particular moment in time to be able to do that.
Hang on. You're being practical. You have done that, and you're doing your bit, you see. That's what's practical for all of us, to keep doing our bit, you know.
However small.
Oh, it does, yeah, every little bit matters, man. Every tiny bit. Prisner, I think you wanted to get in there, Prisner.
I wanted to say that the only true currency, the only thing that really is a currency at all, is your energy, the energy that you put into things. Anything else is an absolutely fraudulent copy. It's not currency at all. It's something that stands for currency, and it can be stolen and it can be taxed and all kinds of things. But the only currency that you really are is your energy that you put into things, and that's the only thing that they can only tax if you let them.
Now, we've got Paul wants to get in there, I think. Go on, Paul.
Oh, just a quick comment about that, the energy you put into things. like, it's gone. Hold on. I'll be back in a bit. All right.
Just breathe.
It happens.
Keep breathing, man. It happens as often as muting your microphone. It really does.
I hate when that happens.
There've been some
really
great
try and
comments
talk to
in chat, particularly from Liederman, who's talking about all these presumptions earlier when we were talking about law. And it's all about presumptions, and the presumptions stand until you disabuse them of them, until you rebut all their and remove all their assumptions and presumptions. And he also said, I will work for food. Well, I won't work even for food anymore. I will only ever work for the love of it, yeah, because it's something that seems to need my love and my energy, and that's what I'll work for. And I don't worry about food. They say that a good doctor never goes hungry, yeah, and if I do whatever I do because I love to do it, then I'm sure that all the things that I need will somehow or another come to me, just as all of my life things have somehow or another come to me, even when I didn't expect that they would do, or despite the efforts I put in to make them happen. And that's where it goes, yeah. If it's always been so, why shouldn't it always be so in the future?
Yeah.
Very well said, Arjun. Very well said indeed, mate.
I've got it.
Excellent.
Quick, before it slips away.
If people are working and putting effort into something they don't like, then, and that's it. Like, but you can think about that. Everyone can yourself. But like, do you see what I mean? Like, if you're going to a job every day and you hate it and it's something rubbish and it's pointless, so you know that, then the energy that's coming out of that would I don't know, like, do you know what I mean?
I'm right with you, Paul. Right with you, man. You build something, you put something together with the best materials, with that negative intent, it'll break. It'll break.
Yeah.
It is that simple, man. Really touched on it there, I feel. You put some of that creative, like, when musicians get together and they jam, and they just get lost in it. Now, I've been lucky enough to play with, I'm a rubbish musician, me, but I've been lucky enough to play with some really good musicians. And they're that good, they can make me sound good, you see. And you just get lost in that moment. And that's it. That's the energy we're talking about. It's no one's in charge, there's no one's the boss, the hierarchy, you're like, what? You're all just waiting for one another to slip in. It's lovely. It really is. And for me, the conversations we have, especially tonight, you settle down, we get newcomers coming in on the calls, it's really cool. And loads of information, people aren't used to it. We have people who you think are going to say loads and they just go really quiet. So yeah, I think that's what we're doing. I know I've met some cracking people, some real cracking people, while I've been doing this. And the energy that I suppose, if that's the terminology we're going to use, that's been putting together, has been predominantly because we can. What's weird is that situation has been created by others for us. It's like what we're calling them, the rich elite. I don't really know what the name is. This so-called hierarchy, this head of this monster that's running around. It's almost like it's created this position for us. I mean, without them, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. It looks like they've been working for us all along. Well,
I was going to say that a bit earlier on, about the Occupy movement. It was orchestrated. Then, okay, I'm orchestrated to be here, but nobody can control me what I'm going to do here. Nobody can control. They can give me the situation. You can give me the tools. You can give me a tenner and ask me to go to the shop for you and buy you a pint of milk. I can piss off with your tenner.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to go to the shop for a pint of milk. But
you know what I mean? You can give me all the opportunities in the world, but it's up to me to do what I want with them. And then, I think that's, we've been given the internet, but it's controlled. People say, well, they're only letting you do this because they control whatever's on the internet. Well, okay then, if they're letting us do it, then on their head be it. You know, we're not doing anything wrong or illegal, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, they give us plenty of. They've tried to stop us being on the internet on more than one occasion already, mate. I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. They tried, and you know, the same as banning, you know, God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols. What did that do? It made it number one.
Well, the idea of this, I'll tell you now, bro. The idea of this, what we're doing, and thank the predominant, not anyone in particular, because it's always working together. But one side of the project is to set up servers that we can all multiply access. Using a format like Skype. It might not be Skype, but Skype will be one of them. And literally, it'll be unstoppable. You'll always have a media network. These conversations could just literally carry on forever. One server dropping out, another one picking up. And you lot could carry on talking forever. These conversations could get bigger and larger and just continue.
I think they're going to get bigger and larger because what I'm seeing and what I do, I talk to a lot of people. You know, I'll talk to people in the queue in the supermarket and stuff like that. And it is getting out there. It is, 2 years ago when I first started on this, I'd talk to people and people would look at me, gone out. Well, I was with somebody a couple of weeks ago and I said to them, well, they were talking about money and I said, well, why don't you go and have a look and get out of debt? 5 minutes later, this bloke's out in his garden screaming and shouting, jumping up and down and thanking me for the information.
Yeah,
people do know about this. People, it is getting out.
Are you aware what happened just recently with Get Out of Debt?
No, apart from what I heard earlier on, your man was at the, got a pasting off at a bailiff.
Yeah, right, okay, man, I was making sure you'd heard that.
Yeah, I was listening to that earlier on. I've listened to quite a few of your shows. I've meant to come on. I went and got earphones and everything. Dom gave me the Skype number, and Dom's been on to me to come on for ages. But for some strange reason, I can't load Skype on my thing. And tonight, it wasn't until that bloke said about the common law and that he can't find it written down anywhere. That's where it is. It's carved in fucking stone. That is the whole edifice. There is no other reason to have any law in this country apart from that to protect the children of the poor and punish the wrongdoer. That is the common law. That is the law. That is our constitution. That is it.
Dom, a caller, Dom. Introduce yourself. Dom's asking who you actually are. He's coming. We're calling him caller number 120. He's got a number.
I am not a number. I am a person.
So yeah, man, we do give everybody, if you do come in on the phone, although we can see your number, we'll give you that anonymity. Is that right? Is that the word? Oh, I'm a northerner, so excuse me. He's anonymous at the moment. He hasn't actually revealed his name. And you don't have to.
Anonymous.
Me?
Mm-hmm. I heard him say that Dom's asked to come on the show, so I just wondered who it was.
Oh, right, yeah, Dom, it's me, it's Abe.
Who?
Adrian.
Oh, what? Plumber?
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, you?
Yeah, pretty good. Long time no speaking. Well, not voice.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. When you said to me about the radio, and I spoke to you, I can't remember if it was on Facebook or wherever it was, and said to you, yeah, I'll get onto it, and I got on the Skype, and it wouldn't let me download it. I bought the headphones and everything, mate. But tonight, I just figured, last night I said to you, I'll listen quite a lot, and, tonight I'm just having a listen because there's sod all else on the telly. And, I'd have to say something.
Did you tell the people, because I've not been listening at all, have you told them, about the Fraud Act and what actually happened with Occupy the Bank of Ideas court case and what you presented to their legal team?
No, I haven't bothered with any of that. I just told them about that protest when I was down there. They wouldn't put the bank statements on the wall or something, so I got a petition up and then walked in and slapped it in on the table. I said I wish that had been recorded, and it wasn't. I was never aware that was recorded, so... You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'd wish out of everything I've ever done that I had recorded.
Do you know what? I think I might have recorded that, but the only problem is what happened was with my amazing troll, when I got that computer, I went to put the operating system, new operating system on, and whilst that happened, all my files were put onto his computer, and then he selected out the ones he wants to edit bits off and throw them up. But he's got videos there which actually proves certain people out there are actual frauds, and he won't use none of them, so it makes me question exactly where he's coming from. And he says, yeah, he's trying to expose the frauds. Well, no, he's not. All he's doing is trying to discredit people that are trying to do a good thing. And whether that's by attacking people that are doing the wrong thing, and then people go...
Yeah, but at the time, Don, that was all going out on live stream anyway, so everybody that was there or anybody that wanted to be involved with it knew about it anyway. They all saw it. I went back, I think it was a month later, it had died a death. You know, nobody was there. It had just completely gone. You know what I mean? There was a few stragglers on, I suppose, but there was, I can't remember who it was that was head of security at the time, but I do remember him getting chucked out of a local shop for trying to shoplift out of it, and he was head of security the last time I was down there, and I just sort of looked and thought, I'm out of here, and left.
Yeah, it was a mental environment, really.
Interestingly, I've come across a action recently that has been funded by Climate Camp.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Well,
about Climate
I don't know to what tune, but I don't know if you've been listening to the news show, but we've been featuring Boris on there, who is being an activist about the link road they're trying to build.
Do you know what, Bob?
There's another group called Coomhaven Defenders, who Boris is not part of, who are being funded by Climate Camp, and they've put on sort of how to be a legal observer days, and you know, all paid for through evidently Climate Camp funds.
Yeah, it's the same old rigmarole from them. They just come in, and I think Boris did actually, I don't know if this was on radio, but like he personally told me himself with the actions that he was involved in, he just could smell these Climate Camp people coming in. And that's not meaning literally because they're hippies that don't wash. He means to smell like the corruption that these guys are coming in, promoting their climate change agenda and controlling protests.
Yeah. I mean, it'll certainly to an extent where they, you know, presumably have some sort of say about how it's working. You know, and I think that we're going to see that more and more, especially with the amount of licenses that have been issued about fracking, and the fact the government is prepared to...
Is that not bad, or what, that gas fracking, man? Jeez.
Yeah, isn't it? But the government are funding it. You know, they're sort of changing legislation and all sorts to make...
Yeah, we've got to stop that, man. That's terrible.
Fracking is as bad as it sounds. It's real bad stuff. The more you look into it, the more horrifying it gets.
Yeah, it is. I've looked at that for quite a while, mate. That's scary shit, that is.
Once it gets into the water table, it's checkmate.
Yep.
Well, plus all the surface pollution from the backflow, you know, it doesn't stay in their little contained areas by a long time.
Drinking
water. Well, there's the fact that they had another thing on. This is what gets me about it. This is what scared me about it. Is they had their little trial on it, and apparently they can't get rid of any of the chemicals involved anywhere. So they're storing them in tankers, apparently, on some waste ground somewhere or other. But then when you look at your climate change, or your chemtrails and your cloud seeding and the flooding that's going on around the planet, and the storms and all that, it's quite simple to have all them containers washed away via a storm.
We could just grow hemp, couldn't we, and not bother with all that fracking.
The thing is, if you go and you look at Tesla's, some of the work that Tesla was doing and some of the work that's been done along the free energy and stuff like that, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. I know I had a hydrogen fuel cell on my car, a homemade one, and it saved me some money for a little while till, the car blew up. But, when you look at all these free energy devices, we don't need it at all.
Den in the chat has just pointed out, in fact, Popcorn said hippies hate water. Den said, I think it's more that hippies like to save water. And of course we like to save water. The thing is that every bit of water that you use gets treated with all kinds of chemicals and so on. So even when you flush your loo, that's a whole lot gets treated with chemicals, and more chemicals get into it. And water's this lovely sacred thing. As soon as you hear about Masaru Emoto and his experiments, all that kind of stuff, and you start to realize how important water is. Of course we want to save water. Of course we do.
Especially considering the one is 80%.
Well, water's the memory of the planet. Everything is in water.
So they proved with police dogs, didn't they, that you actually put on top of it.
You think we can get a moto on Dark City Radio?
He's a bit of a professional. We kind of thought we were just keeping it to amateurs who are here because we love to do it. Maybe Emoto is really a lover of his work. He looks like quite a happy chap, doesn't he? I've got to admit, anyone who can work out that you can program water with the words love, and, mind you, he had to throw Hitler in there, didn't he? That kind of created a weird fractal. Without any doubt. So maybe, everyone's welcome. You know that, Roger. Everyone's welcome on Dark City, right?
And rock music.
There's a crack in everything, as was pointed out by Leonard Cohen. That's how the light gets in, is it not?
Oh, yeah.
You've got me now.
There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Those were the words of Cohen, and actually, it's quite interesting. You look. We look around, we're talking about all the big disasters and crises, but actually everybody has a flaw in them somewhere, feet of clay. And the thing is not to be put off by it. It's what makes us all something else, I think.
Yeah, I suppose it's whether you can live with or without the flaw, isn't it? If you can identify the flaw, then I suppose you recognise the perfection.
Well, normally when you identify a flaw, it just drops away and disappears. When you actually notice it.
Does it disappear?
That would be a bit bad, wouldn't it? You're walking along, you see the floor and it disappears.
I know somebody who took too much LSD and then fell off the floor.
That would be me. It was very scary until I realised you can't fall off the floor, and it was immediately hilarious. Turning it round that fast, if you can do that without LSD and you know how to do it, let me know. Robo with Pete up at darkcityradio.com.
If I'm right in my thinking, then your actual brain flips everything over, doesn't it? 180 degrees.
Yeah, left and right mirrors it.
Felt like that.
It mirrors it, does it? I thought it did it on the vertical plane, not the horizontal.
Maybe it does it in a different dimension altogether.
That would be weird, though, wouldn't it? It's like, what do you mean? We're all actually upside down? Yeah. And, gravity's not pushing us here. It's actually trying to spin it. I don't know, it just pops my head.
There's brain balancing, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I've heard some people say, like, you can have, like, a positive charge or a negative charge.
Well, there's getting left and right hemispheres to work together. There are a lot of exercises in kinesiology that are designed to do that. In fact, in kinesiology, that's how you begin any work that you're doing in kinesiology is with some exercises that get both sides of the brain operating together.
No, you don't necessarily always start there, not at all. This kinesiology isn't a kinesiopathy. One's an hands-on technique, and one's an hands-off technique. And if you're using an hands-off technique, of course, it is quite a famous case. I can't remember the name, but a Reiki practitioner was sued by a woman who crashed a car because she said she went all light-headed after the treatment. And the judge, actually, in the case, decided she hadn't done anything. That Reiki, you didn't do anything. He actually decided that Reiki was nothing, which is quite funny, really, when you consider it. The lady actually tried to do it for an hands-off technique. And if you actually look at these, to get cover on insurance for Reiki, I mean, literally, it's an insurance policy. You don't need anything to get it, but you do need, you might say, a driving licence for the hands-on techniques. You know, to be able to practice them, you need to be covered. You do, because people do.
Well, in hypnotherapy, they legislated themselves into a corner. You know, this is what they do now. It used to be all done through associations and all that kind of thing, and you were a member of respected associations that had respected training and all that kind of thing. But then, of course, they all voted for this legislation to stop getting other kinds of legislation, and it's they do it to everything.
The merchandising demon. Oh, what have you started calling them recently? You got it off Deek, didn't you, Robo?
You what, mate?
Deek. What have you started calling these? What you
psychopathic misery monkeys.
Yes, coined by Deek from FKN News. Yeah, the psychopathic misery monkeys. They're everywhere. So it was water, wasn't it? Didn't we get onto water? And how water could be attuned or tuned or activated or carried a memory. Memory a
we
good
did.
Word? Memory a good word. Also quartz crystal as well. Quartz crystal does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Known to be the record keeper of Earth. You see, I reckon water's like, Bob was calling it like the memory. I think it could be like a conduit that does flow. It does carry it, like your bloodstream. You see him talking about the ley lines and energy lines on Earth. And I live in an area, and it's kind of, when the Victorians came through with the Ley Hunter's Guide, right? And they seem to think they were in a dead straight line. So if they found a church or let's say a market ground or something where the people have been using already, they went there and they built their shit on it basically and took control of it. And then the Victorians get there and the Victorians look at it and they go, well, look, they have that, and they're in a straight line, so they built all their stuff in a straight line. And, when you look at that, you think, oh, wow. And then have a look at the pre-Victorian stuff, especially if you want to look around Manchester. Words ending in L-E-Y, lie, you'll spot it all over the place. They left it there. They left it. I mean, you can even find it on Google Earth, for God's sake. It's there. It's not hidden. None of that stuff is hidden. It's in full plain view for everyone to see. Everyone. And I've said this more than once on many different shows. They built a hill. They built a hill right in the centre of Ashton-under-Lyne. And I've taken people who've lived here all their life. And I've said, that hill over there, and it's like they've just took a pill from the Matrix. Where did that come from? They built it while you were driving past. They didn't see it. They didn't see it. And with the greatest respect to all people, we're trying to convince these people to do something about our government, so-called, not my government of course, the government of England. We want to convince the people to do something about this because it murders people in another land. That's what happens. They don't notice them building a hill in the middle of their own town. How would I convince these people? crazy. Can't see it. Really can't see it. Solution. I think we just carry on. I think we carry on, and I don't mean we all carry on gathering together. You know that this conversation ends up with 2.8 million people in it, and the internet falls over. Right? I don't mean that. I mean people come in, people go out. New people come and new people go, and then people return to tell us if their idea or their alternative was successful, or even greater knowledge when they fail. Because if we put all that together, those so-called problems will no longer exist. We won't perceive them. We won't have them. I mean, to me, it's just dead simple. But hey, I've not really got a very good education, as they'd say. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe I failed. Maybe it was like, oh yeah, you failed, you can't do it. That's not right. You know, maybe we are a bunch of, all of us. You know, I really don't know.
Probably not, though.
Well, maybe we are, man. Maybe we've all got a little imperfection. Maybe we have, you know.
Oh, yeah, we have. We all have, yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to keep focusing on that little tiny fucking percent that just fucks us over and over again, putting all our energy into just one little bit of our brothers and sisters here that have got their heads so far rammed up their ass, and we're asking them to solve the problem? To me, it's like, whoa.
But, yeah, there's the thing. I mean, asking them to solve the problem isn't going to work.
No.
Yeah, because they don't know how to solve the problem, because they've created the problem.
I don't
telling
know.
Telling them, going and actually telling them how to solve the problem is the only way to do it. And we're not going to do that by telling them face to face, because they won't fucking listen.
Yeah, I don't know if they've created that problem. I don't know if it's, or they've inherited it. I mean, they could have. Yeah, it's easy, isn't it, to look from where we are at this and go, oh, I think they think they're doing a wonderful job to sort it all out for us. You know, I honestly do. I don't think they've actually realised that we don't really like living like this.
Yeah, I've got a friend that works in the city, and he's very much with what you're saying is wrong. Then, you know, he doesn't understand that there's anything wrong. And when, you know, fractional reserve lending, what's that all about? What's all this bond sharing and all this, you know, all this other stuff that's going on in the city? What's all that about? Well, he's just under the impression that doesn't really concern me, and they're paying tax on it, so it's helping me, and that's that. You know, he doesn't, you know, some people don't understand there is a problem. I've had other people just turn around and say to me, you know, in the middle of a pub, look around, who in here is unhappy with the way things are? You know, people are not unhappy per se, but they all know that there's something going on. They all know there's something wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody knows how to do it, other than, you know, sooner or later, us talking here tonight might inspire somebody else to say something else to somebody else on somebody else's occasion that might lead to something else. You know, that's at the moment. I think that's not the best we can hope for, but I think that's all we're going to get for the moment.
I think people have already done it. In fact, I know people have already done it, man. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been attacked on the bean field. That wouldn't have happened. You know, the Mayan civilization would still exist. Loads of them. Any single organisation group that sets itself out outside the normal social manner is hunted down and demonised. You know, they've come up with it loads of times. People have done it loads of times. Maybe that's it again. You know, maybe that's it. You know, the big ideology of the convoy. You know, you move as fast as the slowest.
You know, looking at the mines, and if you go back, you know, if you trace back the bloodlines of Illuminati, and you end up back at the Tower of Babel and all sorts, you know, and then you come across that all this has come from bits of paper or chiseled bits of stone that somebody's written about what happened.
Yeah,
you know, it's all written down of what happened. Now, what are they going to say in 1,000 years' time about if somebody finds a container full of statute law, in 1,000 years' time, buried underneath, you know, the Houses of Parliament and mysteriously got burnt down. I don't know how, by the way. You know what I mean? What are they going to say about how we lived? You know, all these are just written down by people. People haven't been allowed to just live themselves. You know, we've had civilization for, 10,000 years. What did we do for the 50,000 years or so before that, where we existed on Earth without towns, cities and legislations?
Yeah, but we've got plastic carrier bags now and Coca-Cola bottles.
We've got what?
We've got plastic carrier bags and Coca-Cola bottles. You know, that's... I know what you're saying, but then that comes down to, you know, education and using resources. Now, it's cheaper to make a plastic bottle than it is to make a glass bottle, but a bloody glass bottle lasts longer. It lasts forever, yeah, potentially.
You know what I mean? Then that's it. You know, my mate from the city told me that we've all demanded this. And I ask people all the time, when was the last time you walked into Tesco's and demanded that they sell you a can of baked beans for 12 pence because it's going to contain shit? Yeah, when was the last time anybody demanded that? We didn't demand anything. You know, I've never demanded anything from anybody.
Friday night, mate, I'm telling you, you go to any kebab house, right, anywhere around in the city of Manchester, and you will find people demanding shite for money.
Oh, yeah. But pissed up people on a Friday night with the munchies, yeah, I've done it as well.
I get what you're saying, man. You've got to be pretty out of your head or blathered out of your mind on something to start demanding that. You really have, bro.
But what I'm saying is, you know, according to them, down in Westminster, you know, and you've only got to watch Question Time for just once in your life. I can't watch it anymore. I don't know why, but I tend to throw things at the telly now. When I watch programs like that, but you know, you only have to watch that once in your life to realise that they don't understand. They don't. You know, they say we're demanding. We demand cheaper products. We demand widescreen TVs. Fuck off, mate. I didn't demand a widescreen TV. My old TV broke down, and I had to go and buy one. That was the cheapest one I could bloody buy. You know, I don't demand anything. I just demand if I want a telly that's going to work. You know, if somebody had sold me a recycled old one that they'd repaired, then I would have brought that.
Oh, I agree with you, man. That this user, throwaway society, it just burns itself out. It's going to burn itself.
Yeah, well, that comes down to you know, the oil reserves and the gas reserves and gas fracking and stuff like that. You know, if they've got over 5,000 patents for energy, free fuel, or along them lines that are suppressed. You know, if Vauxhall's got the patent for a carburettor that made a car in 1939 go 100 miles per gallon. That was in 1939. They used to carve blocks out of fucking bits of metal back then. Compared to these days, there's no reason why a car shouldn't be going 500 miles per gallon on fuel. You know, if they're suppressing all of that, you know, there's not a lot that we can do other than, you know, scream and shout at them. But when and if, you know, if what we want this utopian society to come about, you know, and there's people that say, well, we only want what the New World Order want as well. No, we don't want to control. You know, I think about it. If you invent something, if I come up tomorrow and invent something that gets energy out of thin air, like Nokia Tesla says he did, yeah, and people of long lines have said he did since, if I've come along and invented something like that, then that should just be given to people or sold to people, you know, so I can make my money out of it. But it shouldn't be suppressed, withheld, so, you know, I can make loads of money forevermore.
That's why we put more open forums up, man. You know, yeah. It's like although we podcast to YouTube, we also have torrents up, and we also have MP3 from the Darkcity website.
Yeah.
You know that. You know, we've got to kind of start to be the alternative. I mean, I know guys who are in politics. You know.
But how do we get to release all these patents? See, there's one thing.
You are the pattern. You are the pattern. I mean, I've done stuff, man. I just give it away. You just give it away. You put it up there, let people use it.
But how would I go and force Vauxhall to release that carburettor?
You don't need to. Build your own. Fuck them.
But I can't without the pattern.
Well, you don't need their pattern. Make your own. Why are you relying on somebody else who's, them people? Just don't. We've got to stop relying on them, man, for anything.
Yeah. I understand that, but I haven't got the technology in my head. I haven't got the know-how in my head to invent a carburettor.
Unity, man. Unity. I'm an engineer. You won't take me long to build an engineer and give me the right tools. That's what I did as a kid, As a bench toolmaker.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I did put a hydrogen fuel cell on my car, and that really, really did work. It really, really did work. And
it does, bro. That's the thing, Hans Wolf Diesel, when he invented the diesel engine, it run on nut oil.
Yeah.
Hemp solves all the problems we've spoke about. Well, we can't have it. Why can't we have it? Because it solves the problem. They're not into solving problems. They're into...
I've been looking at that. You make clothes out of it, rope out of it. We used to, pay to grow it.
Yeah, well, like I say, man, you're a problem solver.
And then apparently what I was hearing about it as well was hemp. You can use it for clothes, and you can use it for oil, but all the leaves and all that, you can mush down and make ethanol, alcohol out of it to power your petrol car, because all petrol cars will run on ethanol alcohol anyway.
Yeah, you can extract a vegetable-based diesel and petrol. That's quite right. You can.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Now, now you can say, how can I do that? How can I go and plant a field of hemp, be it for, whatever, but plant a field of hemp? How can I go, how can I go and plant a field of hemp? I can't.
You can?
I can go and get the seeds and throw them out on the ground.
That's right, yeah.
And they'll grow up.
Yeah.
But the chances of me being able to cultivate them and process them into the final product of what I want them to, without hassle and harassment from them,
you couldn't do that without harassment.
So
you'd have to go
in theory I can, but in practice I can't.
Go to China.
We need to get it so in practice I can.
Go to China.
In theory I can.
You can do it in China. They grow vast quantities of hemp and export it all over the world.
Yeah.
They do, man. Where do you think we'd get all the hemp clothing from and the hemp material from? And it is grown here in Britain, but you need to have a licence off the government to do it. It's like, I can't see them giving you one. People in the call, yes, people in the call at the moment who have endeavoured to do that. They've trained.
Yeah. Mark Thompson's, is it something? He went up to one of them, or
no, he's not with us.
The comedian bloke, the bloke that does radio turn rights for the Guardian, Mark Thomas, or whatever his name was. He went through the Coca-Colas in a tank through the drive-through. I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube. Bloody hilarious.
No, I haven't, man.
Mark Thomas, he's a comedian. Either Mark Thomas or Mark Thompson. Versus Coca-Cola. You should look into his stuff. What he's exposed to get about Coca-Cola, the company itself, is actually amazing.
Yeah.
He's one of my heroes.
The Mark Thomas comedy product is called.
Yeah, that's it. Mark Thomas. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic, isn't he?
He is. He's one of my heroes. I grew up with him.
Yeah, he is. He's actually, and wasn't he in got done by the police? He got stopped by the police and detained for 12 minutes because they didn't like the smile on his face or something. He got 12,000 compensation out of it. So if you're suing the police for anything, it's £1,000 a minute. Apparently, is the going rate.
Yeah, I loved what he done over Menworth Hill, where it's allegedly a listening base for the government, wherever you say any key words. And he had a look at all the flight restrictions over the area, and there are flight restrictions, but not for a hot air balloon. So he went over in a hot air balloon, got out his mobile phone and said all the key words.
Yeah. He is. He's really, really good. good, really,
Is
really
it the
clever.
same gentleman who did the secret military bases you could find on
Yeah, the secret map of Great Britain or something.
Yeah, he went knocking on the door, didn't he?
Yeah, and then phoning them up and asking them where it is, and they're like, well, you can't have that map. Well, I brought it off of you yesterday.
Yeah, I remember it, man. Knocking on the door. Excuse me, is this a secret military base?
Yeah.
I'm a tourist. Yeah. Be careful how you say that, haven't you? Great stuff. Let me, if you are out there listening to us at the moment, and you do want to join us, please do so. We've got about half an hour left of this show, just a little over. I don't know what show it is. It's the commonly known as Dom Dark City Extended Special. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, that'll do.
It's a 4-hour show. Right, there you go. If you don't turn up for Dom's show, you get him for 4 hours. It's the only way you can get him.
Dom, weren't you at court today?
No, I was supposed to go and support a friend in court, but what actually happened was I got tied up with lots of things. And where don't use money, sometimes you can't travel and get through the barriers because there's too many guards there. So I had to go back, confirm the guest, and do a load of research, and then the guest let me down. So same old. But the court case, we already knew what the outcome was going to be. You know what I mean? Once you've gone down through the whole rigmarole of the Crown procedure and you had the whole trial, you know what they're going to say at the end of it anyway, once you go up for sentencing. So it's sort of predictable. I'm surprised they gave him a fine, but they also gave a friend a bit of community service, and he's going to deal with it the way he deals with things. So we'll see how that one pans out. But there's still a lot of stuff that this guy has to do, and still a lot of stuff I can't say about it, unfortunately, because this is one guy who's really put some study and some knowledge into it. And it's just like, even with that kind of phenomenal knowledge, you're still not guaranteed success. Look at the people like Dean Clifford and that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're just ignoring it. You know, they write all these things down, and that goes to prove that they're as fake as money. You know what I mean?
Our way of looking at it is to say that whichever way it works out is a success. If we get redress against the police who assaulted us and all the offences that were caused against us, then that's certainly success on our part. If we fail to get redress, then we've shown everybody that it's not possible to get justice in the justice system, and that for us is also a success. So either way, we don't mind how it works out. We've just got to go through the process and see how it works out, whether it's possible to get justice, whether this criminal, lawless and corrupt system that's oppressing us has any truth in it at all or not. So
either way
doesn't matter.
you win. And anyway, it's something to do.
Isn't it just?
I've just
do an awful lot of training along the way. Sorry, do go on.
I've just had a really weird one. I don't know if anybody see the post that I posted not too long ago in the Dark City chat room. It was all about HM Treasury guidelines on coinage and banknotes issued. It's a PDF, and I thought, this looks quite interesting. So I copied the first paragraph and URL code, posted it on my Facebook, and now the whole thing of my Facebook has changed, like the whole format of it. And they usually warn you about changing the layout of Facebook, but now it's all changed. I can't even find my status or anything I've posted in the past couple of weeks. Can anybody see if that's the same on my commonly known as Dom profile with the colour picture?
I'll take a look after, but somebody commented on their Facebook the other day that they'd logged into one of their alternative accounts and the whole layout had changed. It was a day or two ago. So Facebook are obviously doing something weird. Right, we're having a look.
You're having a look. It's great, isn't it? Oh, let's all go and have a look at Facebook.
It looks normal to me, Dom.
Why do I not find that very
Oh my God. Right, now this is freaky, right? It's gone back to normal. But if I open up my...
Oh, yeah, come on.
No.
Pictures
Right,
never happened.
no. Right, I can take screenshots of this.
John, where's that Hempfield?
Huh? I've got it open up on my Will Ming profile, and it's completely different. And when I refreshed it on the other one, it's gone back to normal. There's nothing there of mine, neither. None of my posts.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dun, dun.
Dum, 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 dum.
No pain in the head, mate.
Ding, 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 ding. Warning, giant red swirly thing alert. Commonly known...
I'm gonna take a video of that because that is really unbelievable. All of my comments have disappeared. Every single one of them.
I opened my page on Facebook and it took a while to open it and to sort of refresh it to display it.
Yeah, I must admit, I when Dom said it, I clicked mine in it just to refresh it, and it took ages to refresh. But sometimes that happens. I'm running quite a lot of it. Well, yeah, no worries at all.
You know, Paul, I loved last night all the radio tests when you had the music in the background. It was very, very cool. It's a pity people didn't know much about that.
And really easy to do. It was really easy pricing. It took me a while to load everything up and get it all ready, and then I got an email off Dan saying, we need to update that. I thought, that's typical. And it was good, it was good, so I thought, right, well, let's throw it up and give it a bit of a bomb test. And it didn't break, we broke it. We actually broke it, or I broke it. Me and Dan broke it, really. We're getting good at breaking Linux. But the thing about that is the amount of things, the amount of knowledge I've got crammed in my head, I mean, over this short period of time. When Dan's talking to me in this strange language now, I see pictures in my head. I know what these things are, what Jack is, what Clarice is, and how this works and how that plugs into there. And I had no knowledge. I was a bit fearful of it at first, I must admit. After last night, and that was after Joe Blacker's show. We hung around with Joe for a while, and we had a real good conversation, a real good chat. And the Linux server had run. We tested it on Joe's show. And the reason that's not gone podcasted yet is because I'm now using that server, that computer, to back up this show, what's happening now. Or I can give people as stable a platform as is possible with Windows. We're going to update that, bit of time, bit of effort. We need to get the other server now. Like we knew this would happen. We need to get another one. That'll cost us about 150 quid. And they're not monster machines. They don't need to be, especially on Linux. I mean, the one we've bought already, that is quite adequate to run a Windows machine. To run it on Windows. So on Linux, it's quicker, it's smoother. It was quite a pleasure. It was a pleasure to do that little impromptu show with the music in the background. We could have moments of silence. We can all do a Danny Shine, we can all do that 30 seconds. When it's all set up, hopefully, when it goes quiet, the audio will come up. As we start to speak, it'll just go down into the background. So it was good.
It was very nice, and it was fun having all the people ducking into the call and disappearing from the call, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it just worked, didn't it? It worked really well. It's what I'd actually seen. That's how I wanted it to be. So you've got non-commercialised music being played all the time in the background. Our music, if you see what I mean, or your music being played on your radio. The weird thing is, right, once you become part of the Darkcity crew, once you get it in your head, it's not our radio, it's your radio. Can you see the irony of this? And the ones who are in it working on it, we've given up all rights to it. As soon as you come in, it's now your radio, not our radio. Isn't that odd? I know it's only a play on words, but it's not actually our radio. It's your radio. We can also...
And nobody's done it for free on Linux before. It's cool.
Nobody's actually got Skype to work via the Linux. Nobody's ever managed to put it together. I mean, no fair play there. It has took a while. And it was experimental. You don't know, and it did work. That's the thing, yeah. We can't deny that. I don't know if any other people have done it and they've kept it quiet. There are others out there you can do, but they're not open source. You know, what we've used, besides Skype, is all open source. Yeah, so yeah, we did it.
And it's just going to get open source here too, because I've been playing with more open source stuff in Python, web app development, thing control,
we're going for We're going for the full Sunday dinner, man. We're having open source, open soup, you know, open roast. Yeah, well, why not? Why not? Let's have a go at it. And once we've got the one here set up, we can do that again. And each of those we only need two. We're putting three in because we've got two here and then another one. I'll explain it later. But the thing is, once we've done that, you'll be able to do another one, and that'll carry. And if we just use the free caster streams at the moment, because they cover it, they cover our numbers. We haven't got hundreds of thousands of people. But if we just use the free caster streams, we can do 1,800 live streams from every group of two. You know, you've got one backing it up and one doing it, and it really is that simple. They'll all log on to the same account. They'll all link in to the same network into one conversation. Or you know, every one of them machines will be answering as Darkcity Radio. They'll all be Darkcity Radio. And it costs you, to set up your own little link into it, 150 quid. It doesn't cost any more. And that'll just do another 6 streams at 1,800. I know it sounds crazy, but it's free. It's been there all along. These companies keep getting us all to work for them. We're duped. We're duped. You know, these big Google, YouTube is massive because we all upload our stuff to it. You know, they don't do anything. They don't do it. They're just managing well, I'm saying they don't do anything. Yeah, they've got to maintain it, haven't they, and do the stuff. They've got to maintain the server. And that does take work. It does take time. You've got to feed somebody. You've got to put them in a house, and you've got to do that. But come on. If we all agreed to pay a penny each, 1 penny, to upload a video, you could pay for YouTube dozens of times over, couldn't you? Dozens of times. So yeah, we're doing it. We're creating it. We're the engine behind the machine. We are. And where we focus our energies and what we decide to manipulate here, I'm not sure we create anything. I'm not, you know. Yeah, the more we do it, the more we do it.
Somebody's just said in the chat room that they've got a few spare PCs in the shed. What sort of system do you need? Put a link up. I will.
I can't log on to that chat.
Make them this. We want. The reason for putting them in it 2 or 3 at a time is because of redundancy. Right. What we're trying to do is wherever they go, we want to try and put. If you're a good computer, though, right, you can do it. It's all right. But not everybody is. So if we're doing this kind of thing, and I'm talking a while before we need others. But yeah, the computer stuff. To just talk to Jim. What we've done is we've bought new motherboard, new memory, new processor, a new case, an hard drive. You know, we buy them separate, and we've built. Now we're going to try and buy exactly the same. We want to put 3 of them identical, and the reason for that is if one part breaks now, if you go and try and buy one of them parts in 6 months' time, you'll not get it. You'll not get it. They upgrade stuff so quick. We won't be able to get them.
Obsolete, obsolescence or something it's called, isn't it?
Yeah. So what we've actually got is if one of them machines breaks and goes down, completely goes down, you're still backed up. Now, hopefully, they won't break. One of them won't die on us. But what we do is then one of them's constantly updating with the new shows and the new, and the other two are mirroring it. So the problem being is at the moment is if server number 1 breaks and we move over on to number 2, yeah, I haven't got the stuff that was put on during this show and stuff, and and today or off yesterday's stuff. So and that's physically at the moment somebody's got to be backing that up. So we use that as like an emergency, you could say. It's got stuff on there, it's ready to go, and we've used it more than once. We've actually dropped onto that one, especially in the first few weeks. We had loads of problems.
How long has Darkcity been going now?
Excuse me, we didn't have it in the first few weeks, and we did lose the stream a couple of times. About 8-10 weeks maybe. It actually set off because me and RoboWhippy just had a laugh one day, and Susan, actually, who was staying here at the time from Australia, we just said, yeah, can we do this? What? And Jim said about the server, and I just, well, if we put certain bits of software on that machine and give it remote access, won't that work? And he said no, at first. He said it won't work. He said because there's only one SAN port. So let's put another SAN card in it then. And that's all we did. And we thought, we'll put it on live. And a couple of days later, just through a complete coincidental conversation, really, Dom comes up to us and says, believe you're setting up a radio station. And here we are. Here we are. And the Anon people who were supporting us in chat, they'd heard of what we were saying on the old Darkcity shows, where we were coming through. We got support for the chat, website, building the website, because RoboWhippy's done most of that, but there's no way it would be where it was without them lads saying, no, stick that button over there. Plug that in down there. And those little bits of it, you'd be amazed. So I'm blown away by it, me, right? Absolutely blown away. If you would have asked me 3 months ago, would I now have a job, unpaid, for approximately 14 hours a day, I do occasionally get a day off on a Monday, but that hasn't really materialised. I'd be telling you right off, and I'd be leaving the room. There's no way I would have signed up for this job if I would have known what it would have entailed. Saying that, I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed listening to some of the shows that I have listened to. I think the one where you had the Get Out of John and that from Get Out of Debt. John couldn't stay that long. I'm not sure what happened there, but that was a good show. I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I've there's that many of them. There's that many. We've done that many little bits. I must admit, for me.
I've listened to a few on the archives that have been really good, but I haven't caught them live. I've caught a few, but
yeah. Well, the magic. We knew the magic was there, if I can call it magic. What somebody I've been looking at recently, and I want to mention him, Zach, of Zach and His Army with his magical turtle. We knew we had a magical turtle kicking around. The night me and Dom was sat here, I think he was here. I can't remember exactly now. But it was myself, Dom and Rupert. And the gentleman who'd come on telling us he had a cure for crack cocaine addiction that involved drinking his own urine. I'm telling you, I mean, I nearly didn't put that on. We've had a lot of these things we're not putting on, but I played it to a mate of mine here at my house, and he said, you've got to put it on. He said, you've got to put that up there, man. Whatever you do, you've got. And I'm like, well, why? He said, he needs to hear it, and my bleeding kids need to hear it. Because once you've heard that, they'll never go near crack cocaine in their life.
Well, yeah.
It flashed.
Do you know what, right? There's the people that come back to me after that saying, oh, well, you're discrediting all this information. Hang on a minute, right? Distilled water or drink piss? Well, I know what I would rather promote, and that would be distilled water.
You didn't discredit the information, did we?
And the thing is, he's come on, like, and you've seen it a few times. You've seen it a few times yourself. Like, people do randomly phone me up, and this guy's done it before, babbling all this kind of cack down the phone to me, and it's like, right, put him live on air then. And if he wants to babble cack live on air, that's up to him. That's not my problem. I babble my cack, and if some people don't like that, I can't please everyone.
Yeah,
it's like this.
Dom,
yeah.
You're not drinking your own urine, right? Telling us it's a cure for smoking crack cocaine and then tooting it on the show while you're talking to us. Genius. We couldn't write it. I've been accused of it's a fake, but a few people have said to me, who is he? And I'm like, what do you mean, who is he? Come on, well, we know you're this guy and that guy, and you do them funny calls and stuff. And he's like, no, he's real. And people don't believe me, Dom. They don't believe me. They think he's a fake. They really do. They think we invented him.
No, this guy was contacting me about undercover or actually some kind of thing going on within the druid sort of like things around Stonehenge. And I know there's loads of suspect people like involved with that sort of stuff and doing weird ceremonies and shit like that. But you know what I mean? When you're phoning me up saying that urine can cure crack addiction, and then within half an hour you're telling us that you've been smoking crack during the show, then it's hardly a cure for crack addiction, is it? Now, I do know that urine does have beneficial properties because they put pig's urine in some really expensive makeup products, and you're looking at hundreds of pounds. But, like, sorry, there's probably better things in nature than, like, a bit of fucking piss.
Well, isn't it pentapeptides? Isn't that Dr. Borowski's thing with his curing cancer? And that's from horse urine, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. But it's like, I don't know, I would rather not drink my piss. I've tried it.
Well, yeah, I'd certainly go and have a pint of Carlin myself, and I don't like Carlin.
I'm following the Ringo Starr philosophy of life, really. I suppose when I'm finished, I don't really want to turn up or, end my life with a perfectly healthy body, completely fit. It just seems to, like, defeat the object. It really does. It really does. I mean, I've kind of pretty much abused my body over the years, or I've allowed it to be abused, and I suppose it becomes reflective, I've realised, I thought it was just me. I thought, when you go through this and you wake up to think, it's just me, it's personal, the world's having a go at me. And then sure enough, after a bit of that, after a bit of the Danny Shine, and you just kind of back off a little bit and you settle into yourself and you think, fucking hell, it's everybody. Fucking hell, it's everybody. Oh, no. And it's worse. It's worse, when you actually realise that everybody's in this shit. We're much better when it was just me. So, yes, on that note, we've got 7 minutes left. Let's have a good argument. We've not had a real good argument, have we, for over a week? What's brewing?
Don't you think that Barda fell out with you? I don't think he falls out with anyone. He just slams around. No,
not at all. Not at all. I do believe he listens. That's what we need. We need people. Just hold on, mate. So yeah, we do need people to listen. I don't think so far. I've had a couple of people throw rocks at me, tell me to shut the fuck up and not babble shit.
Well, one thing.
Go on, Dom.
When we got Danny Bampin on the other day, one thing I totally forgot was himself. This is Danny Bampin, Karen, who's Lockie's ex-wife, were both on the phone to me saying, "Oh, you shouldn't put Badder's address online. You should be the bigger man and stay out of it." And then they're all contacting me asking for Badder's address.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hang on a minute, you're a bit fucking loopy-loo here. 1 minute you're telling me, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. And because he's upset you over a YouTube clip, you know what I mean? This guy has been seriously abusing, like, women and children up and down the country.
You're actually presuming these people haven't realised the world doesn't revolve around them. See?
Well, I don't know, because...
You're making a big presumption there, mate. You're actually presuming that you know, they have got the compassion and the understanding that you have for your brothers and sisters here, including Baba Bing. You know, man, that shows integrity as far as I'm concerned, mate. I mean, I know it's...
Each one of us...
doesn't chat on, though, innit? It's not as if... I don't know.
Just hang on a minute. Let Dom finish, please. Go on, Dom.
The way I see it is each one of us is on top of the world.
No, I was dealing with the underworld. I tell you what, I'll meet you halfway.
I thought me out was in the centre of the earth. It's shattered me illusions now.
My heart's everywhere, brother. Everywhere.
We've been on top of the world today. We got our tow bar arrived today.
Hey.
We only ordered it yesterday, and it came today. And I got my head into this Web 2 Pi thing. You know, that's really exciting, and all kinds of good things kind of happened today, and it's been rather good, really. And then, of course, Darkcity happened, and, you know, that happens.
Yeah, well, I was going to actually play you 17 minutes of ludicrous, absolute, total BS, right, from the Department of Health and Social Security I've been trying to deal with over the last couple of days. You would not believe it. But to be honest, you know, it's what's the point? You know, what's the point? We all know they're absolute lunatics. I don't need to point that out on the radio. But I've got it there. I've thrown it in the archive. It might come into me. I'll just slip it in one afternoon when we're bored, when it's quiet. So remember that. We're always on. We're always on 24/7. Bluenet, couple of minutes, mate. It's been a while getting there. Welcome back.
Hey.
I hope you got started with your internet. Go on, man. Got a couple of minutes if you want to say something.
Can I, well, basically, all I'm saying is whilst you're sorting all this stuff out, which is cool, whatever you've got going on sounds great, I know you're well busy, can you a Robo just spare a bit of time to take a couple of mixes off me?
Not a chance. Not at the moment, no, but they're going to set up another Dropbox for music coming in. They've got one for stuff going out now, and that's pretty much sorted, because there's quite a demand on what's already going on going out. You with me? So we've got when we're sorting out the stuff what's coming in, he's working on that. So I know for a fact he ain't got time. He's peas in a bucket in the corner of his room. He ain't got time to walk across his room, get to his toilet.
Well, as soon as you do, just let me know when, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But maybe put that I'm off air for a little bit or something on the thing.
Oh yeah, we can do that if you want. Yeah.
Just say that, you know, we'll let you know when everything's ready for Bluehead or whatever, or just have, say, the same mix that you always, you know, I can, if you download the mixes off my SoundCloud, you know, there's 5 mixes on my SoundCloud. It wouldn't take 2 minutes just to grab one and then put that in for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or something. There's nothing, you know, I'm trying to cover all aspects of a lot of music, but still some of the things that sometimes gets played and some of the hip hop and that, I like to play it at the time, but don't necessarily play it all the time.
Bluehead. What's going on with Truth Juice Bristol?
I ain't seen none of them for a little while. We're in recording at the moment, doing an album. It's fucking boom.
Okay, cool.
But I'll be linking. I don't know. I'm gonna go to the next one. Why don't you come and we'll find out?
Yeah, I've still got to get down to Bristol, mate. I've just been really busy, sort of like helping people out in London.
So yeah, if you give me your SoundCloud, man, I can go and have a look at your SoundCloud and see if we can slap some of that together there, man. Yeah, like I say, once we get the auto DJ sorted out, Bluehead, and we get that done, it won't be an issue. It really won't be an issue, but at the moment, it does involve one of us stopping doing what we're doing, going there, grabbing it, taking it, putting it on both servers, or at least one server. Yeah, that's what it involves. And then somebody waiting up till 3 o'clock in the morning and turning it back onto the standard music, because I love what you do, mate. Right, I've listened to loads of it. You know, I mean, it's not whether it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It's irrelevant. People want it, and you know what I mean. That's fine. But I can't stay up and turn it on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've got to agree with the people that are getting 475,000 beats per second or whatever it is, man. At 8:30 in the morning, it's a bit of a mind wipe. It's all right when you're going up, but not when you're waking up. So yeah, we need to get that turned off, you see, and switched over, and that was basically involved in somebody, like I say, switching back over to the normal kind of a bit lighter stuff, you know, and so on. So yeah, once the auto server's set up and we've done it and we have had it running, I've tried to keep people as informed as I can. I apologise to them people I kept, like, you know, I've done my best to keep that personal connection. But I have kind of kept going with what's going on with that. And it is there. I mean, Preisner's right in the front end for the system and stuff. We've got to get that Java sorted out, yeah. Is it Java to Python or something? I don't know what they're talking about. I've got snakes from far off countries now moving on. You know, I really don't know, man.
Cool. We love it.
Anyway, we're a little bit over. Oh, where is he? Oh, I've lost it. No, he's up here in this one. So I'm going to close it with Max Radical. I wanted to play this on each of the shows, and it's right at the end. So make sure this stays on, will you, Jim? Little Max right at the end, because that's about us done. It's 11 o'clock. Thanks for watching us. We haven't plugged anything too much today. Oh, but before I do, a mate of mine contacted me. Well, I'm saying a mate of mine, an associate. I met him over at Revolution Radio, and he's written himself a book. It's available. It is for sale, all right, and it's a Kindle, but it's $3.11. I think that's about £2, I think, at the moment. So it's not a great deal. And his name is David Dunger. Can you say it right? Dunger. And it's called Visitors, The Lifetime of Experience. So he's just an individual guy. He's putting stuff together. I haven't read it, I haven't looked at it, but he contacted me today and asked us about it, and I thought I'll plug his book. And we had a bit of fun with it this morning, live on air. So yeah, minute over. We turn up at all times, day and night. Keep your eye on the Facebook Store Force. I can't tell you where we post it. It's sometimes in the chat, you know, the Anon chat. Sometimes it's here in Skype. Most of the time it's on Facebook or in the Anon chat. And we just do it.
Oh, Paul, there's probably people been trying to get into the chat that haven't been succeeding. And, you know, usually that's because... Yeah, some IPs get banned, and if you every time you reconnect to the internet, your ISP, internet service provider, gives you a different IP. So if you just disconnect and reconnect to the internet and then try again, often you'll find after a few tries you get in.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I'll keep listening and speak to you all soon.
Yeah, nice one, bro. Nice one. Thanks for calling. Yeah,
that's all right. And the people down at Get Out of Debt, mate, thinking of you.
Yeah.
So speak to you all soon. Good luck, everybody. Peace, happiness.
Good to hear from you, Adrian.
Yeah, Dom, me and you will be in touch soon, mate.
All right, mate. Good to see you.
Mate. See you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So, a little bit of Max Radical. All right, he's asking me whether that call was good. It was brilliant, that call, wasn't it? Was it a great call? Skype just said, how good was that call? I said, brilliant. Should be a brilliant button. Right, I'll take us out with Max Radical. Thanks, folks. Love you all dearly. Thanks for doing everything you do.
I'm just putting a shout out there for grasshoppermedia.ca. I didn't create this. Many years ago now, I met a man who was going to be a Catholic priest, and he decided to not be that the day that he was going to be inaugurated into the clergy. Instead, he decided to just go into a tiny little community called Alexandria here in Canada, and he just helped people. He's helping people, and he loves people. And he told me one day, he said, "You're a jester. You're like a joker," and that's not an insult. You're the only one in the king's court that can tell the truth. So I want you to go ahead and do that. And I want you to be like Grasshopper from Aesop's fable. And I want you to sing and dance and not worry about the winter that's coming. Because all those ants, they're just working for the queen. And that queen, she's got nothing. on happiness and freedom and unconditional love. And that's what we have in between each other. And everyone listening to the sound of my voice is invited to join Grasshopper Media. Use the logo, use the blog, use anything you can, or create your own stuff, whatever you want. Do whatever you can. Just do whatever you can to show unconditional love, and try not to get yourself arrested. Try not to get yourself put in a mental ward. But at the same time, you might have to go there. You might have to learn something. There may be people in there who need you. But right now, in the airwaves, with the internet and all the ability for us, don't be afraid. There is nothing to be afraid of, because we have love on our side. We got God on our side, if that's what you want to call it. All I know is that I've been reading the King James Version, and I got a feeling there's some serious frequency in that book. And that book has been helping me. And I got in there, and the first thing in the mental ward, when I got into the mental ward, I asked, can I have a Bible, please? And they said no. And then I found out that almost everyone in that entire place has one in their back pocket. It's weird. Coincidences are happening faster than ever. And all I want you to do is do what you do. Do what you do best. You know, you get paid thousands of dollars a day, every day, to do what you love doing, as long as you do what you love instead of trying to hurt other people. And those dollars, they're counted up as minutes while you sleep at night, because you can actually sleep at night because you're not out there trying to make money. Merry Christmas.
Things, yes, lots and lots of different things. There's chat, there's music, diversity, an occasional argument, you know, for the warmongers.